Hey guys, hi. Welcome to another session of Scalable AI Series. Last session we had a very good session from our partner who actually brought a interesting solution, and they database because it has global distribution. It is partitioned by design, so you can store an amount of data, or you have whatever number of TPS, you will be able to perform the you will be getting the consistent throughput altogether. And in this series, we welcome our partners who come on board and help us and showcase the applications they are doing with their customers. And today we are having MAQ Software on board. This partner is a Microsoft certified partner. They are delivering AI solutions throughout, and they are helping customers for developing AI solution. This is not only helping few customers. In fact, they are helping transformation, driving the digital transformation altogether. In fact, we have Keshav, who is part of MAQ Software. He's a fast track solution architect leading this transformation across the industry. And we are going to have a fireside chat with him, and we'll ask questions. Hey, Kashyap, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Manish, for having me on Scalable AI Series. Firstly, I would like to congratulate you and the entire Cosmos DB team for this wonderful product and features that are being released. It was very, very timely for us in our agentic journey. And I'm extremely excited and happy to address any of your questions.
Awesome. So without waiting for anything else, we'll directly jump into the fireside chat. I'm very excited to ask you a few questions. I know you are doing a lot of projects, working with the customers from various industries, and I wanted to basically ask you this question about the challenges you're facing, which is holding back Gen AI adoption. And where do you see the biggest opportunities across?
So there is a very strong push across all the customers we are working with on adoption of generative AI. And I'm seeing top three challenges that I commonly face, and I can kind of group them into this. First one is data readiness. There is a myth that AI can do everything without us doing any engineering. Unfortunately, the reality differs. Organizations underestimate how much work is needed to make that data quality consistent, available in real time for relevancy, and accessible in the forms that AI can meaningfully learn from. Second, I will group them under governance and risk, especially questions around bias, security, compliance, lack of deterministic responses, and IP ownership are slowing decision making, especially in regulated industries. Third is more on the people side, which is skill and change management. Generative AI, it's not just plug and play technology, right? It requires a little bit of rethinking workflows, reskilling the teams, and building a culture that embraces AI assisted decision making. And we need to disrupt and learn new ways of working. So I think those are kind of my three areas where, or at least high level buckets where I'm seeing certain challenges. But having said that, there are lots of opportunities as well in front of us. First one, I would say, and the most important one is productivity gains. We are seeing co-pilots and AI agents are already showing 20-30% efficiencies, and in some newer applications, it's almost 70-80% of gains that we are seeing. Second, business models that can be unlocked. Before, I would say Gen AI enabled, in a way, entirely new ways of creating value. It could be hyper personalized services or knowledge as a service, conversational commerce, AI driven co creation. Right? These models simply were not viable or economical before, but now it can easily be delivered at scale and at speed. And third, for me, would be knowledge democratization. Right? The ability to make expertise instantly available across geographies and roles and across your entire team. That's a big game changer for both internal efficiency as well as customer experience.
Superb, superb. I think it's apt. Um, and how's Cosmos DB helping you address Gen AI infrastructure challenges like scaling vector data, enabling real-time retrieval, and supporting high throughput workloads?
Well, with Cosmos DB, I think first one is one place for all of our data. We can keep vector embeddings and our operational data side by side, run native vector search, and skip the hassle of actually stitching this data between multiple systems altogether. That's one of the huge benefits of being on Cosmos DB. Second one, fast access with very, very low latency, single digit millisecond reads and global distribution. So AI apps can easily access relevant information in real time. Third one is scale on demand, because many of our apps have usage spikes, multi-region writes, and elastic throughput handle traffic spikes seamlessly. Whether it's user queries or heavy ingestion from our solution pipelines, we are able to easily scale available resources for the application.
Super, super. Yeah, I think one of the important thing which is helping people have already adopted Cosmos TV or people looking for developing Gen AI application is Cosmos DB is not just a vector database; it's actually an actual database where you can store your data. And as I said, that whatever data is you're storing, irrespective whether you are using storing 100 GB or you are storing 100 terabyte of data, you'll be getting consistent performance. And not only that, we actually have the performance. In fact, it's called latency guarantee. We have less than 10 millisecond of write as well as read which is under P99, which is very stringent performance SLA driven guarantee. And definitely people can use that. And I think you're already, so let's quickly jump to the next question, which is related to the real-time challenges of your operational, how you operationalize Gen AI application and moving it to production. What are the toughest scaling challenges you have, and doing that, and how you are help using Cosmos TV to tackle those challenges?
So when we talk about solution challenges, I would position them both as technical and operational. I think I have, in a way, a couple of those concerns or challenges that we typically face. Cosmos DB's instant elasticity scale up in seconds, right? That's a feature that we love. And we have ability to scale up, scale down without any penalties, and it has worked pretty seamlessly for us with our RAG layer. Secondly, context freshness. Our AI solutions need the latest operational data, and having vector embeddings in real time, I think it helps us, like Cosmos DB helps us reading this information extremely quickly. And since both my operational database and my vectors are both together, it really helps me search and kind of get the outputs at almost real time.
Superb. Yeah, I think a few features which I have spoken last month. It was included. I think you mentioned about specifically on the search. So now we have full text search. This is for audience that they will be wondering, hey, you know what database is for queries. Cosmos DB was not having search. Now we have search features already included, so you can perform full text search. Not only that, you can actually have hybrid, which is combination of your full text as well as vector search together. So yeah, I think this is a very, I'll say, in-time feature, which is important, and at the same time, it's very useful feature for getting the relevant data as quickly as possible. Great. So next question I have is, that's my favorite. Sometime you actually lost into the technology world and you only talk about the technology so far, but when it comes to actual impact, you need to think about from the business perspective as well. So so far, what kind of business outcomes you have you seen using Cosmos DB as part of your Gen AI stack?
I think we have seen a very, very clear gain with Cosmos DB. First, our time to market has drastically improved. We are able to get to Gen AI use cases from ideas to deployment in weeks, right? Earlier, it used to be months and sometimes more than months. And it's kind of, in a way, given us efficiency of 75-80% when we are building newer solutions. Second, I think performance has improved significantly. Applications now are more responsive, and we can support a much higher number of users with enhanced experience for them. And we get responses in milliseconds with even hundreds of concurrent sessions. Third, I think we have seen better control over costs. I think because Cosmos DB scales on demand, we only use the capacity we need, making it very efficient. And we have seen in some of our applications before we were on Cosmos DB, able to reduce costs by almost 50%. And these are applications that have very high concurrency demand or need. And most importantly, I think the quality of responses from generative AI has gone up. By grounding responses in fresh, relevant data stored in Cosmos DB, we are actually delivering more accurate and trustworthy outputs. And that's made a big difference in how our teams and users engage with these systems.
Awesome, awesome. I think this is very nice conversation we had so far, Keshav. Thank you so much for answering these questions very candidly. And I would say the usage you have for the Cosmos DB is really awesome, and it is really fascinating that to see the features we are developing are being utilized to full extent. So thank you so much. Now I wanted to see it in action. So can we have deep dive for this solution? And this is our next section called Architecture, Spotlight, and Demo. Keshav, uh, so over to you. Please help us understand your solution in details.
Perfect. So today we'll do a detailed walkthrough of one of our product that targets the problem of finding relevant information quickly and securely. FindFast is a scalable Gen AI enabled enterprise knowledge search, which is context aware and securely finds the information across multiple data formats. We have deployed this with multiple customers and have had very positive feedback from them. With some customers, we were able to improve the quality of search that was much better than some of the native search through different products. And with others, we were able to bring down time to find the relevant information. And in some cases, it's a combination of both. So let me invite Ankita, who is a technical program manager for building AI powered solution accelerators with us, to walk through the design and how Cosmos DB has been instrumental in making the solution successful.
Welcome, Ankita.
Hey, hi Manish. Great to be here and happy to collaborate more on this.
Thank you. Yes, Ankita, go ahead. Over to you.
Sure. So, now that we have seen the broader overview of the FindFast and its capabilities, let's dive into how users actually use FindFast. So, this slide is going to walk us through the user flow, starting with two key personas, admin and user. Admins here are actually responsible for setting up your system. So they work on managing the data source, controlling who has access to what data source, and users are consumers of the data. This is where the analysts come, or the support teams or the executives come and query the FindFast to find the relevant information that they need. Let's first begin with admin flow. After the FindFast is launched by admin, the system performs a top K matching results using the vector similarity by querying Cosmos DB. These results are then passed to Azure OpenAI, structured and non-structured. These could be part of your blob storage, SQL databases, SharePoint repositories, and include any kind of files such as audio, video, document, PDFs, email files, etc. Once the scope is created, FindFast uses Azure OpenAI's embedding model to convert the documents into vector embeddings. These embeddings, along with metadata, are then stored in Azure Cosmos DB, which enabling the semantic and vector search. Admins then configure role-based access, ensuring that only relevant users can query specific scopes. Now here, when admin flow ends. Once admin has created all the scopes required for the user and provided them relevant access, user comes into play. Users will now interact with the system via natural language interface of FindFast. This query that is generated by user is first converted into a vectorized format. The system performs a top K matching results using the vector similarity by querying Cosmos DB. The results are then passed to Azure OpenAI, which will generate a natural language response. Users then receive a concise, context-aware answers with links to source document. This entire flow ensures both structured and unstructured data are accessible in secure, scalable, and intuitive way. Now that we understood how users interact with FindFast, let's look under the hood at the architecture that powers it. The key I'll walk through the key components of these architecture. The first is FindFast app. This is the application layer, which includes both admin panel, user panel, and allows admin to enable the configuration and users to interact with FindFast. Then we have blob storage, SQL servers, or SharePoint sites, which act as your raw data repositories where all the files are stored. Then a very important component in the architecture is our Azure AI content understanding, which enhances the system's ability to parse, interpret, and chunk the documents, and it includes audio and video files as well.
Go ahead.
Okay. So next here we have text embedding model. Here we are using Azure OpenAI's embedding model to process the text to generate vector representations. Here we are using text embedding ADA002 model to do the same. The most important component of this architecture is Azure Cosmos DB. This act as a backbone of semantic search engine, helps us to store the embeddings as well as metadata, everything at one single place. Then we have Azure OpenAI. It helps us to power the natural language generation and refine the responses based on the retrieved content that we send back to the user. So this entire architecture follows RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation pattern, ensuring that responses are not only accurate but also grounded with enterprise data. This modular and scalable architecture ensures that FindFast can evolve with your organization's need and support new data formats, roles, and use cases as they come. So this was the overall architecture for FindFast.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is really nice in a structured manner. One of the thing which I really find interesting that how it is flowing from the user question perspective. That I'm hoping that your responses will be within few milliseconds, so that it will be falling under the interactive communication. Awesome. So I think the architecture is really interesting. Now another question. I have one question from my side is, why did you choose Cosmos DB?
There were actually multiple reasons for choosing Cosmos DB. One of it was it supports which was essential for semantic search that we are performing here. It allowed us to store as well as retrieve the vector embeddings efficiently, enabling fast and accurate matching of the user questions to the relevant content that we had stored in different sources. It also, like you had previously mentioned, Cosmos DB is this helped us ensure that user get instant answers even when querying large volumes of data. Cosmos DB also supports multiple data models and it's globally distributed by default. This means we can scale FindFast across regions while maintaining performance and availability. It integrates really well with Azure's security ecosystem that allowed us to enforce role-based access and protect sensitive enterprise data. Cost, another huge factor. We used autoscale throughput mode and we optimized our vector queries to reduce the request units that were consumed. This overall helped us to control the cost while maintaining the performance. We also periodically clean up the unused embeddings to keep the system lean and reduce the overall cost. And last but not the least, I think Cosmos DB act as a foundation for our RAG setup. It is able to store the embeddings and metadata together at one place, which then are passed to Azure OpenAI for generating more grounded and context-aware responses. I think due to all these reasons, we found Cosmos DB as an ideal component for this architecture.
Awesome. That I have one question around the vector search. So, what is the vector search index type you're using, and what is the partition key strategy you had?
We are using vector search powered by disk ANN. This has helped. So we did try multiple approaches and we landed upon disk ANN. It helped to enable fast similarity matching between the user queries and the document embedding that was stored in Cosmos. We first convert this vector embeddings using Azure OpenAI's text embedding model and then match it against the stored vectors in Cosmos DB. This overall strategy has helped us to find relevant responses very quickly for the user and retrieve it efficiently. In terms of partitioning, I think Cosmos DB's partitioning model itself is basically leveraged to distribute the data efficiently. Now, keeping that in mind, we use document level metadata. In this case, we have used document ID and the scope name as partitions keys so that this ensured that our data was evenly distributed and fast access was possible. This setup has also helped us to support autoscale throughput mode, which dynamically adjusted the capacity based on the query load, overall managing the cost and maintaining the performance as well.
Awesome. That's uh, really awesome. Um, can you also walk us through how we can use Find Fast?
Sure. Actually, let me walk you through world legal scenario. Let me pause this video. So, think of a real world legal scenario, and I want to showcase how Find Fast can transform knowledge access for these legal professionals. Now, in this demo, we have created three different scopes, each representing a core legal domain. One is contract, intellectual property, and corporate law. And we'll see how legal professionals will come to Find Fast and get the answers to the questions that they ask. So first I'll come to the tool. I'll select the scope that I'm interested in. Here the scope selected is contract. As soon as the scope is selected, you'll see some of the questions are auto-populated over here. User has an ability to either select one of the question that is present here or ask a new question that he wants. Let's say user selected one of the questions. It will generate the answer for the question. You can then ask follow-up question or a new question regarding the same scope. Once the answer is generated, you will see we also have the citations for the answers. This helps us to basically gain confidence from the user that the answer that they are seeing from FindFast is actually correct and relevant by providing the link to document from where it is retrieving that answer. This document does not open into a new tab, but in fact in the same tab. This way user don't have to navigate to a brand new page. We have a document viewer embedded in the tool itself, where if it's a PDF, it will open a PDF document. If it's a Word, it will open Word, or even in case of video files, it can generate and play the corresponding video as well. User can go through the document, find if require if he needs additional information, he can go through the document and find the answer for the question that he wants. Now, in case we are interested in some other topic, we can always go and clear chat and select a different scope. Here we selected intellectual property as a scope. And you can again start asking questions as you need. Now, this is how users will interact with the system. Let's see how admin will use the system. Like I mentioned before while talking about the flow, is admin is responsible for setting up different sources and setting up different access. Let's see how admin performs these tasks. We have a different page for admin. So once admin comes to this page, sorry. He can work on creating a scope, provide name of the scope. We are adding one more domain called as compliance. Select one of the data source. In this case, we have selected blob. Add the details for the data source by entering the name, connection string, container in the blob, the folder that you are interested in. It's an optional. Test the connection. You will see that once scope is created, we can provide relevant user access to that scope. So I need two users to be able to access this scope. So I have added two users. Once that is added, we can also list, it's again optional, we can list predefined questions. These are the same questions that you see on the very first screen when you select the scope, which are kind of a starter questions for users. Here we have added two questions and we are adding one more. Once these questions are added, just click on create and just like that, a scope will be created. You can go back to the user page and you will now see a new scope compliance created for the user. And you can again start interacting with the Find Fast and ask questions on that topic. Yes. So this is how you can use the tool.
Awesome. So, can you show us how you are storing embeddings in Cosmos DB?
Sure. Let me open the code for that. So we have defined this function called as store scope embeddings in Cosmos. We are accepting multiple parameters as part of this function. So the paragraph represents every we function called as generate embeddings to create the embeddings. Then we, because these are different parts of a single document, we want to also be able to identify which part of the document it is. That's why we have this part number. Then for every embedding, so we basically pass the combination of the paragraph we storing the file vector, but also the metadata corresponding to this file vector to be able to filter when we perform the search queries. So we have ID, which is like a grid. We have scope name. These are the same scopes that we saw when admin creates a scope or user selects a scope before asking the question. Then we have source type, which is either blob, SharePoint, SQL, whatever you choose. The name of the file, the source name, the part number, the connection string, source location, last refresh date, the actual text before converting into the file vector, and then actual vector, that is embeddings, that is generated from the paragraph. Once a document structure is defined, we store this into a container using create item function. We have some exceptional handling as well done over here. Yeah. So this is how we are able to store the embeddings in Cosmos.
Very nice. And what is the roadmap? Like, how many number of features you are planning to add, and do you have any interesting features which you wanted to highlight, which are going
Yes,
to be added?
sure. We are continuously working on evolving this tool, and there are a couple of features that release in future. First, we aim to enrich conversation history. So this means developing and deploying a robust system that can store, retrieve, manage user conversation across sessions. So by maintaining the context, we will be able to ensure that the interactions that users are having with the system are more smoother and personalized by taking into account the historical references that can support, I think, better decision making. Next, we also plan to integrate continuous feedback mechanism. This will allow users to rate the responses, suggest improvements, and report any issues in real time. The feedback loop will directly contribute to refining our models and enhancing the features, driving continuous learnings and product evolution. Lastly, we will develop a comprehensive analytical dashboard. This dashboard will help admins to track the usage pattern, monitor key performance indicators, and visualize user engagement metrics. These insights will, I think, empower stakeholders to make data driven decisions and also ensure efforts align with the business goals as well. I think together these initiatives will significantly elevate the Find Fast experience and support our long term vision.
Perfect. Yeah, I think these are amazing features, and certainly you can leverage Cosmos TV to help you getting the performance you would need, because all of these features they would either you're storing conversation history at the large scale, or you're looking at the feedback mechanism, and that requires you to have a immediate feedback. I think all those Sorry, guys, for the interruption. I hope my audio is available now. Sorry. So this section is basically for latest and greatest for Cosmos DB. So this is we have spoken last month. We have spoken about the features we went GA with in NoSQL API. Mostly it is from BM25 full text scoring, hybrid search, weighted search, and the dev perspective, link queue, and entity framework core integrations are now available. We also have added few features which were in public preview, and you can certainly look at those specific features over a documentation. So we have added a feature set for the vector search perspective, full text search, as well as we have added core features like GSI per partition, failover, etc. I've spoken at the length in the last month, and we have also spoken about MongoDB core, disk and etc. Um, these are features we went GA with, and this month we have an interesting update. One is customer managed keys in MongoDB vCore and Azure is much awaited feature is already released in public view. Please go ahead and try this out. This is going to help you using your own keys to encrypt the data in MongoDB vCore. Then I wanted to speak about one of the interesting uh, interesting services called Azure Managed Instance for Apache Cassandra. This is going to remove all the worries which you may have in terms of managing the Cassandra. It is 100% OSS Cassandra, and going to provide latest features like that's what the announcement is. We have released version 5.0. In version 5.0, we have all the latest features which Cassandra OSS provides. It's completely managed, so you don't need to worry about managing the repair task, high availability. We provide a very stringent SLA there. It almost start with 4 nines and it goes to 6 nines of SLA. I think this is a one of the fantastic service which you can utilize. Uh, from 5.0, we actually are able to leverage multiple interesting features. So we have in Cassandra 5.0, storage attached indexes are there, vector search is there, dynamic data masking, which is available out of the box. We have many other optimization in terms of performance. So you'll have a better query experience, faster performance you will be getting. You will have JDK 17 support in terms of dev perspective. Azure Snitch, which is optimized for cloud deployment, is there. We have various SS table partition detection for the large ones. And last not the least is basically the TTLs, various enhancements being done at the TTL is now there in Azure Cosmos DB, Apache Cassandra managed instance. So yeah, so you can basically try out, and you'll definitely find the services interesting. At the same time, it is very much cost effective. It is although we are taking up all the worries, automatic management of the environment, the cost is very minimal, and this is bundled with your existing as it is a first party, so everything is bundled. So whether it is Azure support or you have Azure credits already there, or you wanted to get started, so you'll find it super cost effective service. So this is these are the things which is we have from latest perspective. And in fact, for next one, which is call to action, I wanted to ask Ankita to share. Um, one second. Yeah. Ankita, you want to share what offers you have for our audience?
Sure, yeah. So, if you need any help in the AI session, please feel free to scan this QR code. You'll get us contact us details. Um, you can also reach out to us at customer success at the rate Microsoft MAQsoftware.com. Um, we have three kinds of workshop. First is agentic AI envisioning, which is a 1 day workshop which you can enroll into. We can also help in building a proof of concept, which would be a 3 week engagement. And if you need a pilot product to be developed, which could take around 6 to 8 weeks, that kind of a offer is also available. So please do reach out to us on customer success at maqsoftware.com.
Superb. Thank you, Ankita. So we'll come back to the question and answer. This is our next section, and it's very interesting. So let me take up few questions which are submitted offline. Uh, if you guys are watching, you have questions, please feel free to put it onto the comment box. We'll be happy to take a look and I'll ask, revert on the fly. Okay, so first of all, I think those two questions are uh, on Cosmos DB. So, what strategies do you recommend for optimizing partitions and TTL in Cosmos DB when serving AI models that require both historical context and low latency access? I think it is very interesting question, and I wanted to have two perspectives. First, my perspective on this question is basically when you have partitioning. So Cosmos DB, the core benefit of Cosmos DB is it is a distributed database environment. So you no matter you are storing 1 GB of data or you have 100 TB of data, you will get the same performance. So there is no ifs and but about it. This is the same concept getting applied when you have a vector search. So you're going to have all the data, business data for the context purpose, and you're putting everything in Cosmos DB, which include your vectors. When you're performing queries and you have a vector, you if you have noticed, we already have the filtration of inside the vector. So you basically perform the query and you have a vector conditions on top of it, apart from other conditions. So when it comes to vectorization of your data and partitioning, make sure you when you're performing queries, you will have partition field as condition as your filter inside the vector search. That ways your query will be scoped and you'll be able to perform your queries in a much faster and cheaper fashion. Although you can use all of those highly advanced features like hierarchical partition key, and you can define okay what level of partition you want, and apart from that you can actually have uh, some filters. You can skip one level or it basically provides three level so far. So you can have first level partition key, which is by default. Then you have second level, third level, and that ways you'll be able to scope. I'll give you one example. For example, let's say you have multiple um tenants coming into the picture and you want to perform vector search for one tenant versus another tenant. So what you do is basically you perform queries, you specify the tenant. Tenant will be your hierarchy one. You may have some more specific filter, which you always have in your queries. You can have level two, level three. When you have level three partition key specified, that means that you are basically having very much scope queries, and these are cheaper and faster. But let's say if you don't have that level in some queries, you still be better off because your number of partitions will be very limited. If you don't have that level and you wanted to have bigger queries, sometime you may scope it to tenant, which is of course your one level uh, partition key, and that is actually a very smart design, and you'll be able to see a lot of design pattern around partitions. Just search for partition key and you'll be able to find it out. The second perspective I wanted to invite Ankita and Keshav, if they can provide some pointers that what they have thought about partition key when they are designing a vector search based application, specifically in the context of FindFast. Uh, that will actually give us more practical perspective.
Sure. I think Manish, you covered a very good point. From perspective of FindFast, what we have done is we have made when we choose a partition key, I think we have to balance between both uniform distribution and query efficiency. So, um, so that is the reason we use like a document level metadata information, which was our scope name and the document ID, which enabled the we don't create any hard partitions so that the data is distributed among the different partitions, as well as this is something that we are also going to use the filter to filter the data based on the user's access. So yeah, I think finding that one sweet spot by choosing a key that distributes the load but also can be included in the query filters to enable fast query retrievals is the main strategy that we used while choosing the partition key for FindFast.
Superb. And one question for you, Ankita, on the find fast perspective. That's basically how does find fast handle real time ingestion and indexing of unstructured data, specifically in multilingual or compliance sensitive environments? Does that in this already supported, or you are having it in the roadmap?
Right now, FindFast supports English, but yeah, that can be extended to multilingual content as well. For real time data ingestion, yes, that is something in pipeline which we will have. So, when you onboard or create a scope linked to a data source, we will have a we will have a background job that will continuously run to find if there were any updated documents or a new documents are uploaded into that blob container. So anytime a new file gets uploaded to blob container, it will automatically take that into account, and findfast will be able to retrieve the answers from the new uploaded documents as well. So yes, we can say it's kind of a real time where any changes to that blob container will reflect into the tool.
Awesome. Okay, so next question is very interesting, and that's a uh, very critical design pattern also. I think few years back when we introduced that feature, it was a game changer, and even right now, it is very important for most of the application. And in the context of agents, AI agents, this is very critical now. Now, the question is, how can Cosmos DB change feed be leveraged to trigger AI workflows in real time, and what architectural pattern best support this in a multi-region setup? And specifically, the multi-region is for a mission critical environment where the availability of application is very important. So I think this is a very good, very apt question for this presentation, and I would say Cosmos DB change feed, as I said, that it was a game changer when we introduced, and it is certainly super relevant when it comes to AI agentic application. Ankita have shared a very nice, architecture diagram when she mentioned that, hey, you have a data and all the data is getting vectorized and then it is available for search. What about if there is any change? And when the change happens, then of course I wanted to capture the change. I wanted to push the change to my users rather than they come to my system. I would wanted to reach out to them saying, hey, you know what, something interesting happened, you may wanted to check out. Either they will come to your application or they will perform some background agentic job, maybe approval process or something, anything which you have in your mind. Um, so we have a very important update, and that's basically called document indexer integration with Azure Logic Apps for parsing PDF and images. So as soon as this particular feature, how it behaves. So as soon as you upload the data onto the blob storage, I'm talking about PDFs and other stuff. Uh, it basically scans and then perform the vectorization and update the Cosmos DB. Now, let's say you don't have that images and PDF, and you're just talking about, hey, I'm just doing a simple insert. Now, the changes will be captured by change feed, and all those changes can be consumed via Azure Functions, where you basically be able to perform your reactive workflows, and then you can post your request to maybe REST API, or Azure function itself will be doing something, or you have change feed processor within your agentic application, which is directly listening to the feed, and you're performing the a relevant task. So you can do that very easily without any hassles. Now, this question to, in fact, this is a very, very good suggestion for Find Fast as well. Ankita, if you have you, by the way, thought about having a reactive flows? Did you thought about it?
So, yeah, for change feed, actually, we have worked on building one of the application which leverages change feed of Cosmos DB for our agentic AI application. I would say change feed is kind of an hidden gem when of Cosmos DB, which can be used for building any kinds of AI workloads that in turn enables multi-region support as well. Uh, where I have used is we had an use case where we had to build an event driven AI agents. I think that was the best use case for change feed. So whenever there was a change feed, it would trigger. We used change feed to actually trigger the AI agents to complete a specific task. So that was one use case. Second, to get our um, data updated for it to respond to the new questions that are asked by the user. Another thing is, even in conversational AI context building is where change feed can be leveraged a lot. This is something that we were thinking. So change feed can actually update your conversation context or user profiles in real time. This way your AI agent can learn from the latest transactions or uh, transactions, when I say transaction, latest conversation, and alter its behavior when responding to the next set of user questions. I think these are the use cases where I would use change feed, uh, Cosmos's change feed feature in AI applications.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And this was really great and interesting. It gave us really nice insights. Um, Thank you so much, Ankita, and thank you so much, Keshav, for joining in and providing responses to our questions candidly. We'll look forward for you in other field, and for audience, if you want to reach out, please connect with them on their links. I think they have shared the QR code. I think email ID is customer success at MAQ Please reach out to them. And most importantly, we'll see you in the next session next month. So please read, please keep checking. We are going to provide you the dates. Most probably, it will be end of September, and we'll have an very interesting session on scalable AI. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.